灯能除千年暗，一智能除万年愚。
Miles Guo, the entire G Media, GTV staff will be here throughout the world, and we'll be broadcasting from Japan, Taiwan, everywhere throughout the world. I want to thank our audience. I'm very honored to be head of the Rule of Law Society and have been focused the last couple of years on the whistleblowing movement. It's a great honor to work for the freedom of the Chinese people and to know today that the new federal state of China is being announced by the Himalaya Society, the Himalaya organization, to actually confront, combat, and eventually take down the CCP. The CCP is a gangster organization. They do not deserve to continue to be able to keep the Chinese people in slavery. And I want to thank all the English-speaking people throughout the world, as I'll be around for the next 18 hours to give analysis, assessment, and commentary of exactly what's happening. I want to thank Miles Guo and everybody associated with the whistleblower movement, everybody associated with the Rule of Law Society, everybody that is working every day to free the Chinese people. Now, in our great city, the greatest city in the world, New York City, tonight, we're actually under an 8 o'clock curfew in the major part of New York City. And this is to show you that even freedom is tough every day. You have to fight every day for freedom. You have to fight every day for freedom. You have to live up to the ideals of freedom. And we in the United States understand that. That's why it's a struggle every day, but we try to do it in a very imperfect world. Freedom's not perfect, liberty's not perfect, but it's better than the totalitarian dictatorship that's run by the Chinese Communist Party. And we're very honored today to be able to give commemoration, since the CCP will not have 1 second of broadcasting about the honored dead, the heroes of the Tiananmen massacre 31 years ago. So I want to thank all of our English-speaking audience. I look forward to talking to you throughout the night. Thank you, sir.
尊敬的战友们好，尊敬的战友们好，尊敬的战友们好，14亿中国同胞、香港同胞、西藏同胞、台湾同胞，大家好！我和史蒂芬·班农先生现在正在美国纽约的曼哈顿，后面就是我们追求的信仰的标志——自由女神。还有我们的雷弟妹，我们的战舰，非常的荣幸，今天能和所有的战友们一起见证我们新中国联邦的开国大典。亲爱的兄弟姐妹们，我没有做好任何准备的演讲，我不想说有什么梦想。中国人做梦了几千年了，共产党给了我们一个噩梦，现在习近平又给了我们一个更大的噩梦。我不想再做梦了，这就是我们在这里的根本原因。我要告诉同胞们，我们每个人都有义务，都有责任保护我们的父亲、母亲、姐姐、妹妹、女儿、兄弟，各家人也有责任保护我们的朋友。我们要结束共产党的流氓统治，一切都是党的，一切都听党的，爹亲娘亲不是党亲的流氓政治，让他们从今天开始起，共产党在中国不再是合法的政府。我在这里代表爆料革命的亿万战友和世界上爱好和平、爱好向往善良、自由、法治、民主所有的朋友们，我要告诉你们，我们会把共产党在中国彻底打倒。还有，班农先生是在国际上具有代表性的朋友，我们得到了世界上超过近100个国家的支持，到现在为止， 在关注着我们今天的开国大典。我们要追求的就是我们的家人不再过恐惧的生活，我们的财产不再受掠夺，我们的国家不能让一个家族和几个家族说了算，必须是人民一人一票。既然共产党说为人民服务，那你既然为人民服务的权利要由人民决定，我们来决定需不需要你的服务，这就叫新中国联邦。我们要要回起码的人性的尊严、人性的平等和人性的善良。我们不能再制造冠状病毒，去杀掉世界上和美国这些爱好和平的人。所以，我们也不允许再在香港发生这种灾难的事件，时时刻刻在死人。我们也不允许在台湾过着恐惧的生活，和14亿人民过着奴隶般的生活。这就是我们要成立新中国联邦的原因。我们将不再有恐惧，我们不再有任何的妥协，只有一个目的，没有梦想：推倒共产党，建立新中国联邦，实行民主、法治、信仰自由的一个新中国的和平国家。我们不达目的，绝不罢休。这就是我们今天在背后自由女神在我们背后这种根本的原因。我们要感谢美国所有的人民，共和党、民主党，任何的人民给了我们机会，在今天纽约全部是隔离状态被宵禁的时候，允许我们在这里满天的飞机和有所有的护卫，让我和班农先生在这里发声，建立新中国联邦的宣言。任何一个爱好和平，任何一个对家族、对个人、对世界、对他人有尊重的所有的人们，都应该牢牢地记住今天我们做到了。
The Secretary of State met with the Tiananmen Square massacre survivors this week. The anniversary, of course, is today. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think we're entering a period which is going to be tougher and tougher for U.S.-China relations. And as a result, based on what's happening in Hong Kong, based on what's happening in other tenets of the relationship, things that were considered no-go areas in the relationship are suddenly become possible, whether it's closer relationships with Taiwan, whether it's more coordination around the Tiananmen protests. Any part of the relationship it's going to become so fraught that people are going to stop being resistant to getting under each other's skin, and that's going to, of course, further exacerbate tensions going forward.
But Leland, how are we supposed to have a relationship, a partnership with China if these things keep coming up and
things are getting worse? And I think that as we get into the fall, you're going to see the worst relationship between the two since Tiananmen in 1989. We're on our way to decoupling. It's just a question of where that decoupling, what level of decoupling that we'll see.
This is the order from the DOT essentially calling for a complete ban on commercial airline flights from Chinese airlines starting on June 16th. If this goes through, and there's no reason to believe that it won't, this will effectively cut off flights between the two countries. The U.S. and China were negotiating for the resumption of flights. Delta and United wanted to begin flights this week. Couldn't work out a deal. So now the DOT has said, you know what? You can't come to an agreement on letting us fly back to China. Maybe you shouldn't be coming here. So again, this is an escalation of tension between the U.S. and China. And now,
in the last hour, our 9 Europe correspondent Ben Avery and his cameraman Cade Thompson attacked while live on air, reporting on the London protests.
The clash with us here at the moment, and it's been following us.
But just 12 hours earlier, Europe correspondent Sophie Walsh was also attacked during a live report.
It was a demonstration that had been banned by police, but thousands turned out to protest the death of a 24-year-old black man in police custody in 2016. But it descended into...
Sophie, you okay?
Sorry. I just...
Sophie?
Yeah, I just had someone come up and try and... Yeah.
You okay, Soph?
Sorry.
The first deputy director of the Propaganda and Agitation Department of North Korea's Workers' Party, Kim Yo-jung, also speculated to be the regime's number 2, says Pyongyang will scrap its military agreement with Seoul if the South takes no action against the flying of anti-regime leaflets. The Dodong Shinmun, the regime's state-run newspaper, delivered Kim's discomfort over the anti-North Korea leaflets dispersed by some defector activist groups in the South late last month. It is the first time a high-ranking North Korean official has publicly lashed out at activists sending propaganda leaflets. It has emerged that China and Russia have blocked more than 60 proposals for UN sanctions on North Korea. A UN official told Voice of America on Wednesday that the two countries have blocked all recommendations, excluding those related to humanitarian issues. The official said the UN Security Council Sanctions Committee on the regime is pushing to impose sanctions on vessels, entities, and individuals with links to the regime. But the official says China and Russia have been standing in the way for the past 2 years.
Beijing, through the Hong Kong police, have said because of coronavirus, you can't commemorate the Tiananmen Square massacre this year.
Yes, it could be. It could be a bad sign, but I think overall we're all concerned about what's happening in Hong Kong, particularly the new security laws that are apparently going to be enacted by the so-called parliament, the rubber stamp parliament in Beijing, as they become more and more intolerant of dissent, including in Hong Kong. So, Hong Kong has been such a huge success story and such a tribute to an open and free society. And I had been optimistic in 1997 when I attended the handover representing Australia, that Hong Kong would continue to thrive, which largely it has done. But I think the omens are much worse now as the government in Beijing becomes increasingly aggressive, increasingly authoritarian, and one could almost say increasingly Maoist in its disposition.
And how soon will the president declare them to be, in point of fact, an international terrorist organization?
Well, I don't know that they've done anything outside the United States, but we treat...
In fact, can you rewind that 10 seconds? Is that possible, Greg? I don't know what technical things you're dealing with here. If you're paying attention, let's play that again.
Well, I don't know that they've done anything outside the United States, but...
Antifa, Jack. We don't know if they've done anything outside the United States. Anti-fascist action.
I mean, this is clearly a failure of not only of Cuccinelli's staff to adequately brief him prior to this interview, but I think it speaks to a wider failure on the part of the federal government. We're hearing the same thing from federal agencies. We're hearing the same thing from law enforcement around the country at the federal level, that they just haven't done the legwork on this organization. Antifa was originally constituted in Germany in the 1930s. They were an arm of the communists from the Bolsheviks, really, from Russia, that were sent over. The NKVD was involved in setting them up, as well as the German Communist Party. Their role was to destabilize the Weimar Republic. That was the entire point of Antifa. They are a destabilization force. And then we saw a resurgence of Antifa in the early 90s, the late 90s, the Battle of Seattle. We then saw another, then through the Occupy movement, which of course was an international movement in both Europe and the United States, Canada and the United States. We see Antifa in Canada now. We see Antifa, you and I have come up against Antifa in London. And now we've seen just a massive resurgence in this movement. We've even seen, and I've done a lot of reporting on this and documentation of Antifa traveling to Syria to fight with a internationally designated terror group, the PKK, and receive training from them. They were sort of attempting to recreate the Spanish Civil War in northwestern Syria.
But the question is the response that we just heard, is that indicative of the wider ignorance across the federal government about this, or was that maybe an outlier? Because if it's indicative, and I think it is, then we've got a bigger problem on our hands. Because you guys sitting at home will be thinking to yourselves, oh, okay, you know, we're in 8 days of Antifa-led anarchy now, even though in some places, yeah, it's quieted down. Not for nothing, that's because of the massive military presence here in Washington, D.C. and in other places. In other places it hasn't. Look at New York City last night. But you might be thinking to yourself, okay, you know, President Trump, he gave a great speech, he walked over to St. John's Church, held the Bible up, and, you know, that was a major moment, iconic moment. But unless that filters down through the agencies, unless that information is freely available, unless...
今天我们要用鲜血来证明捍卫我们这个宣言一定要得到实现。亲爱的兄弟姐妹们，我今天我用鲜血来证明我们可以。兄弟姐妹们，我用我的鲜血，我今天用手指，我不能用这个手指头，我用这个，我咬掉我的手指的鲜血，就是要证明给所有的兄弟姐妹们，我们未来我们要在这个世界上用我的鲜血来捍卫我们追求的法治、自由、有尊严、有体面的中国。中国人叫摇指发誓。我今天先把誓言留在这里，好不好，兄弟姐妹们？我们一定要干掉共产党。